Hello teacher, this is my final project about comparative and superlative adjectives. Please keep watching and let's start. Hello there, welcome to another English lesson with Alison Ramirez. Today, I am going to teach you an easy and important topic to improve your English. But first of all, I need you to see these pictures over here, as you can see here. Please analyze carefully. Can you see here two elements? Right, we have two elephants. Let's see the next picture. Again, we have two elements over here. Please think for a while. Are they similar? The answer is to yourself. Please think carefully. Now let's see the final picture. Again, two elements over here. But could you notice that in these three cases, there were two different elements? There was one big element and another small element, right? There was one big elephant and a small one. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to teach you how to compare things. And so this factor is called comparatives and superlatives. Let's see how it is going to work. Again, two elements over here. But could you notice that in these three cases, there were two different elements? There was one big element and another small element, right? There was one big elephant and a small one. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to teach you how to compare things. And so this factor is called comparatives and superlatives. Let's see it is going to work. Comparative and superlative adjectives and adverbs. Let's start by giving a definition of these two terms, comparative and superlative. What is a comparative and what is a superlative? Okay, let's see. Comparative adjectives. Comparatives are used to compare one noun to another noun. In these instances, only two items are being compared. Let's see. The example, the bluebird is angrier than the robin. We have two terms. Or in other words, you can say that comparatives are used to show how two things are different. Okay? As you can see here in the example, I am comparing two elements and we are saying that they are different in some way. And let's see the superlative adjectives. They are used to compare one thing against the rest of a group. Superlative adjectives demonstrate a higher level of comparison between elements. Or, in other words, you can say that superlative adjectives are used to compare one thing or idea to others in a group. Let's see the example. She is the prettiest princess in all the land. I am referring only to one thing that is the maximum in a group. Okay, that was a brief definition about comparative and superlatives. Now let's analyze comparative adjectives and then I am going to explain you something about comparative adverbs. Comparative adjectives. We have to follow some rules, okay? Let's see. This topic is very easy. Please pay attention. The rule says that we have to add ER to one syllable and some two-syllable adjectives. we have to use the particle than after the adjective. Something important here is that for Spanish speakers, sometimes they tend to use that instead of than, and that's wrong. Please don't forget to use than, not that. Okay, let's see. Here I have a list of adjectives. As you can see here, easy, great, and old. The rule says add er to compare. Okay, let's see. Easy, easier. Great, greater. Old, older. Can you see? We only add er to adjectives. And the particle than. Let's see the example. My sister is older than my cousin who lives in New York. Can you see here? We have the adjective old, and after that I have the particle than to compare two things. It's very easy. If you can see here the adjective easy, we have at the end we have y, and here the rule says that we have to change y by I to add er, but you can visit my other video in which I explain this kind of rule, okay? So this is not complicated. Now let's see another rule. It says add more or less before adjectives with two or more syllables, okay? Let's see the examples. More complex or less efficient. The example, some people think religion is more important than politics. Here I have a two-syllable adjective, so I have to add the particle more. Some people tend to use the particle more with one-syllable adjective, which is wrong. Don't do that. Let's see the example. My sister is more older than my cousin who lives in New York. That's wrong. This is the first rule. You only have to use er plus the particle than. Please do not add more. That's wrong. Now let's see comparative adverbs. It is the same story as comparative adjectives, but here we are going to use adverbs, obviously. Let's see the rules. 1. Add er to one syllable adverb. Some examples of adverbs are hard and fast. What we have to do here is only add er. Let's see the example. Mark runs faster than Manny. Here I have two elements, Mark and Manny. And here I am using er with the adverb to compare two things. Okay? And the second rule says add more or less before adverbs with two or more syllables. Let's see the example. In ancient times, teenagers used to treat people more respectfully. We are comparing here by using more before the adverb. And that's it. Okay, I need you to pay attention over here. Check it out. Do not use less with one syllable words. Instead, you use not, as. Let's see the example. Brazil is not as large as Russia. That's right. That's how you have to use not as. Don't use less. You don't have to say Brazil is less large. That's wrong. Let's see the other example. Over here. My pants are not as long as my sister's pants. That's right. Use subject pronoun plus an auxiliary verb such as be, have, or do after than in formal academic writing. The auxiliary verb is optional. Here you can see here, the verb is optional. And use an object pronoun in formal writing and speaking. Let's see the examples. My sister is more concerned about having family trips than I. I can say than I. You can omit the verb. And here the other one says, my sister is more concerned about having family trips than me. With two-syllable adjectives, learning Japanese is more difficult than learning Italian. Studying is more important than going to Paris. Now let's see superlative adjectives and adverbs. Let's start by superlative adjectives. Okay? So here we have again some rules. The first one, it says add the plus est to one syllable and some two-syllable adjectives. Let's see the adjectives: easy, great, and old. What we have to do is only add est, easiest, greatest, oldest, and before these adjectives you have to place the particle da. Let's see the example. Here, over here, Mark is the oldest man in this classroom. Can you see here we are applying the rule? We use the adjective, est, and you continue with your sentence. The next example says, my father is the greatest person for me. And for me, maths is the easiest subject to learn. And here we have another rule. Add the plus most or the plus least before adjectives with two or more syllables. Some examples of these adjectives are interesting, important, and common. Let's see the example. I can't find my most comfortable jeans. In some cases, you don't have to use the particle da. As the first example, can you see? Let's see again. I can't find my most comfortable jeans. Let's see the other examples. Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. Here we are applying the rule. We use the adjective est. Okay? And let's see the other example over here. She is the smartest girl in our class. This is the most interesting book I've ever read. And over here we have another examples, but regarding to superlative adverbs. We add the plus est to one syllable adverbs. Can you see here is the same as adjectives, but here we are using adverbs. We have hard and fast. Hardest, fastest hardest, fastest if you add est. Let's see the example. This is the hardest decision I have ever taken. And add the most before adverbs of two or more syllables. The most quickly, the most significantly. Let's see the example. This is the hardest decision I have ever taken. The same. And here we have two common uses of comparatives. These are explicit and implicit. Let's see the first one. Explicit refers to both elements to be compared are included in the sentence. Let's see. The Day of Death is more popular in Mexico than in other countries. Here I have two elements and they are included in the sentence. And implicit, the comparison is with something already mentioned in the text, or with something outside the text but known to the reader. As a result, it is not necessary to repeat. Then plus the second element. After the verb, let's see the example. If people in my country knew more about other cultures, they perhaps would be more understanding. I am not repeating again, understanding other cultures. Only I am doing implicit. And that's it. Thank you so much, guys. See you the next lesson.